Hi, this is Dr. Giuseppe Marinacci of Biohealth Holistic Dentistry. What's gum disease? So gum disease is a degenerative disease affecting the supporting tissues of our teeth, in particular bones and gums, and leading in the long term to tooth loss. More and more studies are showing the connection between gum disease and chronic diseases like Alzheimer's disease, all the neurological disorders, coronary heart disease, diabetes, arthritis, pulmonary disease, etc., etc. As any diseases, gum disease to happen needs, first of all, a genetic predisposition. But the genetic predisposition alone is not enough to develop the disease. So this predisposition must meet a particular lifestyle. So it means that if you just have the genetic predisposition, but if your lifestyle is not that one related to gum disease, you won't develop gum disease. So this point is extremely important because it means that we can do a lot to prevent gum disease. So what's this lifestyle I'm talking about? So in particular, diet and oral hygiene. Obviously, the diet is the most important one because if you think about wild animals, they don't brush their teeth, they don't floss. Anyway, and by the way, they don't have cavities or gum disease, okay? So that's why we have to focus in particular on our diet. So which kind of foods can affect the supporting tissues of our teeth, leading to the destruction of them? First of all, sugar. So sugar can deplete us of vitamins and minerals like vitamin D, magnesium, zinc, calcium. All micronutrients are extremely important to keep our bones and our gums healthy. Also, grains. Okay, so grains basically they are very rich in anti-nutrients, some particular compounds that again can deplete us from important vitamins and minerals. Okay, so that's why it's important to understand this point. At the same time, sugar and grains, they feed bad bacteria. So the real issue here is not bacteria, okay? Because we are made, 90% of us is microbes, okay? So we are made of trillions of microbes. So, and we need them to survive, okay? We need them to function properly. So the real issue is not bacteria. The real issue is dysbiosis. What is dysbiosis? So basically is an unbalanced situation of our oral microflora, of our oral microbiome. So basically when bad bacteria become predominant over the good ones, in that case, you can start developing a gum disease. Okay? So bacteria are just part of the issue. But if they live in a balanced environment, okay, they're completely harmless. The problem is when you start feeding them or overfeeding them, starving the good ones. Okay, so the bad ones, they become predominant and they start causing issues. Okay, so this point is extremely important because what's the treatment then? Killing bacteria is enough. And which ones you are going to kill? Because you cannot kill all of them indiscriminately. Okay, so you have to be very selective. Okay, so our target are bad bacteria, not bacteria in general. And most treatments are focused on killing any kind of bacteria, good ones and bad ones. So when you kill all of them, or most of them, usually the bad ones, which are the most pathogenic ones, and as they were fed for so long, they're stronger. They become even more predominant over the good ones. So the situation can just get worse in the long term. Okay, it's the same effect that you can develop when you have antibiotics. Okay, what you do, you destroy all the bacteria in your gut, and the situation can just get worse and worse. It's the same, exactly the same in our mouths. So we have to be very careful. So the best treatment would be to basically rebalance our microbiome. Okay, and to do so, yes, it's important to kill bad bacteria, but preserving the good ones. And at the same time, we should feed the good ones with fibers. Okay? So they need prebiotics to survive and to flourish. Not sugar, not grains. At the same time, if you're not eating organic, for example, okay, most grains, they can have glyphosate. Glyphosate is a weed killer, and this weed killer basically binds calcium, magnesium, and other kind of minerals in the gut, making them non-absorbable, which can lead to bone destruction. So it's the same for oxalate-rich foods. So oxalates, they behave exactly like glyphosate. They bind minerals, making them non-absorbable. And as a consequence, our bones and teeth can become more vulnerable and definitely weaker. So another important factor that can trigger gum disease is vitamin D deficiency. Okay, so if your lifestyle doesn't consider production of vitamin D, because maybe you live in a cold country and you don't expose yourself to the sunshine very often, and you don't supplement vitamin D, D3 and K2 in particular, obviously that's another big factor that can affect your bone health. So as you can see, it's not simple, it's very complex, okay? And most people, they think that they develop gum disease just because they are genetically prone to do so, okay? No, it's not like that. If you think in that way, you don't take any responsibility to change your lifestyle. And it's really actually what you really need. Okay, so you have to change your lifestyle if you really want to prevent or to treat your gum disease. We don't have another way. Killing bacteria, destroying all the bacteria in our mouths, it's not the right solution. It's not the right answer. So please, trust me, you have to work on your lifestyle. Lifestyle is the right solution, is the right answer.